Let's get started with enhanced speed. One of the most common powers you will ever come across in media, real world, and any kind of fiction found on our little blue planet. Users of this power possess speed that is beyond that of a normal member of their species. I think you guys can figure out what I'm going to do next, so I won't disappoint. Speed, in its simplest of terms, is the rate at which someone or something is able to move or operate. I don't know how to break that down anymore in regards to its simplicity. That's as simple as it could be explained, so I'll leave that hanging right there. Now, the concept of speed, like most other concepts, can come in various forms, and throughout those various forms, host a wide number of interpretations and conclusions that can be drawn up and philosophized, I think that's a word, with most of them turning out to be right, or at least in the ballpark of being right. Speed, just like strength, does come in many different forms, such as mental and or physical, not to mention other concepts associated with speed, such as velocity and momentum. But for the sake of this video, we'll focus on physical speed. And just like the real world and fictional concepts that you can find that this power is based off of, being the benevolent Shay that I am, I need to warn you guys that the rate at which this information is going to be zipping past is, well, fast. Don't ask me how it got like that, because I don't have an answer. What I do have is friction burns all over my hand trying to catch it all and gather it up for you guys. But unlike me, there's hope for you. That's right, you guys can gain the exclusive ability of superhuman speed and reaction time in regards to the info in this video. Nope, no more questions, just find out for yourself. Hit that like and subscribe button. This info can and will go by in a blur if you let it, but fret not. Hitting that share button will pass on the info and hopefully the power to others so they can understand what will be said too. If you're just here for the applications, uses, and users of this power, then skip ahead to this time. But if you guys want to run this race with me, then get behind me, because I want to be in front. Where could I start when trying to reference the origin of speed? Well, I has no idea, but I can definitely tell you, like I normally do, that it has influenced mythology and legend. An easy example off the top of my head that everyone can envision would be Hermes, the Greek messenger god and emissary, or his Roman counterpart, Mercury. Not only are they gods of athletes, wit, cunning, roads and travelers, winged sandals, and numerous other silly things, some stories would have these divine beings ferry the souls of the dead from the normal world to the afterlife, single-handedly, consistently, while dealing with their other tasks or dalliances. That's pretty fast. But those legends had to start somewhere. Looking back at the Greeks, they were known for having track and field events that laid the groundwork for the current cardio-based sports that we enjoy today, many of which, if not all, require the vague concept of speed, aka physical speed in those particular cases. Well, what about a more scientific view? Isaac Newton discovered or quantified the concepts of gravity and inertia by observing the speed and momentum of how an object reacts when it makes contact with another. Well, in his case, he found that out after the lump on his head healed, but you get my meaning. What would that be an example of? Reactionary speed, I guess? But there's also Galileo Galilei, who supposedly dropped a heavy weight and a light weight from the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa to demonstrate that both weights would fall with the same level of acceleration, and as a byproduct, he discovered that all accelerating objects encounter a measure of resistance, mostly with the air. Now, what would you call that? Acceleratory speed? Oh wait, never mind, it's just velocity. But wait, let's look even deeper, like literally, like at the fact that life itself wouldn't exist if the universe was stagnant or without speed or movement of any kind. Think about the molecules that make up everything you see and you can't see, sliding past each other. Even when the particles are stuck next to each other, they're still vibrating in place so quickly that it can't be seen, but it generates enough heat in order to maintain the object's current form. I don't even know what you would call that kind of speed. Molecular speed? Anyway, you guys get the point. Now it would be better to get this part out the way. Physical speed is more or less defined via an object's or individual's acceleration, how quickly they can accelerate from a stationary position, their maximal speed of movement, how fast they are or can be, and also speed maintenance, which is essentially minimizing resistance and deceleration. In order to calculate how fast something is, aka the average speed of an object within a certain time frame, calculating the distance traveled by the object divided by how long it took the object to get there is normally the easiest way. That's how most mediums calculate speed feats for their characters. But oddly enough, enhanced speed as we know it in fiction does go by another name: hysterical strength, aka fight or flight. Massive amounts of adrenaline can give the user a boost in physical stats normally used to allow one to escape from any dangerous or uncomfortable situation, which explains the old saying of don't corner a wild animal. This ability is so portrayed in popular culture so often and so casually that anyone can recognize it and usually won't be that impressed by it because it just is what it is. Because when enhanced speed is mentioned, most people tend to think of running speed, flexibility, or agility. But when I tell you guys that this power can be considered the Stan Lee of superpowers, enhanced speed has spawned innumerable amounts of offshoot powers that can't seem to get out of its shadow. Obviously, a character that can run fast is a prime example of this ability. That's a given. But think about it like this. What about that guy at summer camp who you could never hit with a dodgeball? Or the batter who can identify and react fast enough to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball? Wait. What about the smart aleck? We all met one who you could never beat in a rap battle because either they outthink you or they can just straight up outtalk. That places this power in the Charles Atlas category, as many forms of media portray this power as one that anyone can acquire through intense training if you weren't lucky enough to be born with the gift, relatively speaking. But speed is used for more than just being flashy or being a speed demon. I stated earlier that speed and movement are synonymous as they're both integral to the universe. If nothing moves, atoms couldn't merge to create molecules, and molecules wouldn't become compounds that make up the base of reality as we know it. Because while speed can connect things, it creates something new while at the same time generating heat, which is essential for life and the merging of substances. But there's a negative side to that as well, which makes our relationship with this concept just weird, as we determine the value of speed when it's convenient for us. So with that being said, it'll be hard to pin down a legitimate symbolic meaning. But I will say that faster speeds are associated with more passionate and intense thoughts and or concepts like youth, emotions, innovations, or elements like light or fire, while slower speeds are associated with more passive or stagnant or, sturdy ideas like wisdom, logic, patience. So I guess the associated elements in this case would be like ice or earth, darkness, and others that share that theme because they're normally portrayed to be the slowest. Because this power is so commonly portrayed, there's no common way the origin of how an individual achieved this power can be portrayed. It can be given to a character intentionally through some kind of science serum, body control manipulation, the consumption of a lot of sweets, or the activation of a device. And the effects may and may not be permanent depending on the story. With the go-to way of displaying this ability is to show the character running or at least moving faster than normal. In comedic settings, a user of this power might have a tell or some kind of running gag, such as, twitching or being hyperactive and loud. And in more serious settings, users will have unforeseen consequences of this power, such as massive energy consumption due to all your bodily processes performing at a way higher gear than a normal person your size, and or how they interact with matter because they move so fast. And because when we think of enhanced speed, we think of a cardiovascular exercise in some way, shape, or form, an aerodynamic physique of any type is attributed to possessors of this power in the majority of cases. So if they're humanoid, they'll have a slim, athletic build. And if they're of a technological design, they'll be slim, short, sharp, and or shiny, maybe a little slippery too. Writers who tend to lean towards the more fantastical side of the scale when showing superpowers love to set up a cage match between this power and the theory of relativity, which usually includes tropes like super speed time travel, bullet time reaction, which shows a character moving so fast that it appears that time is slowed down for them, allowing them to interact with the world that really can't detect them. Unfortunately, the speed factor of this power is usually forgotten and time is treated as if it really did stop, which it didn't, but hey, who cares? It's superpowers. Not to mention the ability to extend your frictionless durability to anyone you decide to super speed alongside you. But that's not all. There's also the speed cloning trope, which shows that the character is moving so fast that the other character's brains are fooled into thinking that there's more than one of the user. Water running is the typical trick speedsters employ to showcase their speed by running up the side of a building or across a body of water. And loose air manipulation abilities, usually showing the speedster generating tunnels of wind or straight up tornadoes from the pure speed they produce, which allows them to blitz opponents with a twister punch, put out fires, or keep themselves midair if they don't have anything to stand on. Interestingly enough, characters with super speed also tend to have super acceleration and deceleration all in one, which allows them to reach their top running speed instantly and stop on a dime without harm. You only really see them accelerating if they're trying to push themselves beyond their limits, which is normally for a plot-relevant reason. They also seem to be unaffected by friction or inertia or even gravity, and the ones that aren't really affected negatively. It's just used to show the power itself or how fast they're going and compared to the fundamental forces that are affecting them. But like I said before, if it is affecting them, then they'll normally be seen trailing streams of sparks, heat, if they aren't outright glowing from all the energy they're producing. It's common to show a character with this power leaving behind after images of themselves or turning into a complete blur. The possibilities are nearly endless, and just like the possibilities, most if not all users will have an unlimited level of stamina and endurance, which is trademark for a user of this ability. They don't get tired unless it's for a plot-relevant reason. Super reflexes are usually a secondary superpower that is needed, but the funny thing is, they're not the same. And for those that are confused, think about it like this. Just because you can perceive things that move at exceptional speed doesn't mean that you can keep up. Common colors associated with speed are red and yellow, orange possibly, but those are in regards to high levels of speed, which does explain a lot of what we see in world and popular culture. And I would say inversely, cooler colors like blue and black or, I don't know, purple fit slower speeds. Now, I want to set the record straight with this and state off top that there are numerous classifications of enhanced speed, and those range from peak human all the way to absolute. We won't be covering those in this video because those are subtabs within the folder of enhanced speed. Now, with the power of enhanced speed comes the natural ability of rendering the user resistant to weight gain, illness, injury, intoxication, and accelerating their healing speed via an accelerated metabolism. This ability is common and pretty standard for any being who moves faster than what's capable of their species. And if their body performs faster than what's capable for their species, it would make sense that it allows them to interact with the world in a manner faster than normal, but allowing you to perceive nearly everything at an accelerated rate with accelerated perception. But in order to actually understand what you're perceiving while moving and reacting at those speeds, then accelerated thought process is exactly what you need in order to not be left behind. With the internals of how this ability will work covered, we can move on to how this ability will actually affect the physical or the outside, I guess. Now, since you can think and collect information at super speeds, you'll need the capability to actually hold in all that information that you take in. So, having an enhanced stamina is a given. Matter of fact, this ability wouldn't be that useful without it. It would actually be a living hell. So, in pairing with that, if stamina refers to the amount of energy you have, then enhanced endurance refers to how well you can put that energy to use. So, we're adding that too. Moving on from there, traveling at the heightened speed that you are, it would be pretty dumb if you couldn't react physically to what you perceive mentally via enhanced reflexes. And if you want to be able to move around and or dodge whatever you super react to with the same level of ease, then enhanced agility is one that you can't ignore. But in all honesty, if you're moving around at high speeds, air resistance is the least of your worries, as there are random bugs, airborne molecules, and particles that if encountered at high speeds, will feel like you just got hit with the force of a bullet or worse. So, in order to combat that, I would definitely recommend enhanced durability and enhanced momentum. The former exists to protect you, while the latter exists to lower your chances of actually being interrupted when starting or during acceleration, and it allows you to hit with some force. This power can mimic the appearance of others like enhanced strength. Since you don't have to worry about friction burn or random debris or injury while you speed, enhanced body part velocity will allow you to focus your speed into a part of your body and then move it in any direction, moving your body parts at an extremely fast rate. This power is the basis for most speed-based attacks you'll find in media, as it's well known that the more speed that you put behind an attack, you'll find it to be a lot stronger and far more sharper if that's your avenue. If you can use your enhanced speed to attack faster, why shouldn't you be able to take that same force produced because of the speed and use it to propel yourself in short bursts across small distances with dashing? Very simple. And since both of those allow you to move fast but in different ways, we can slap accelerated movement on there as well. But it's important for a user of this ability to be able to keep a constant level of speed, or else they'll end up wearing themselves out due to constant acceleration and deacceleration. So, in order to maintain your current level of speed effortlessly, let's add speed maintenance to that as well. The combination of all those previously mentioned abilities allows a user of this power to perform some of the more fantastical abilities mentioned previously during the analysis. So, let's start off by giving you the honorary title of Speedster with Speedster Physiology. Congratulations. With that comes all sorts of goodies, such as the ability to perform a burst of speed that allows the user to move so fast, it appears they teleported, with Flash Step. Infusing your supernatural speed with whatever combative capabilities you possess allows you to overwhelm your opponent with Speed Combat. But the funny thing about making contact with anything at immensely high speeds is that it can and will cause a massive shift in matter. This is usually as a result of the force imparted, the reactionary inertia from the surrounding wind pressure, the heat or energy generated, or the straight up fact that without speed, strength really has nothing to back it up. But the combination of the previously mentioned can and will cause shockwave generation. Moving this fast while in the mix of dealing with someone who cannot keep up can and will cause them to see double or even triple. Not because there are two of you, but because you're moving so fast, that's how their brain processes it, with after image creation. But what if you want to go the route of Hermes and remain undetected while you do your dirt? Then your best bet is to use your speed to move so fast that others can't see or follow your movements because you're moving so much faster than the eye will allow, with invisible speed. And there you have it, enhanced speed in a nutshell. That's not all the applications, but remember what I said earlier about speed being a vague concept more so than even strength. So expect videos on its greater and lesser version. A power as common as this ability still has its fair share of weaknesses, just like any other power. Unless the user of this power possesses secondary superpowers that I stated earlier, just having super speed does you absolutely no good, especially when you consider that physics and the fundamental forces of the universe will remind you that every time you try to speed up. The user's even worse for wear if their physical abilities can be siphoned off, which in the case of most physical abilities is extremely common. They might be unlucky and possess it in only one part of their body, which would suck, or they might have a max level of speed that can be overcome by someone else. And last but certainly not least, the user's own skills and knowledge will determine how far one goes with an ability like this. And now, with all that out of the way, it's time to place this ability on the scale. Enhanced speed is an ability that everyone can make use of and has desired in one way or another, like all the other Charles Atlas powers, like enhanced strength or enhanced senses. And the main reason being is because it seems like it's a very achievable power, under the right conditions. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, the Shey scaling system gives this power a speed-tastic 8. Thanks for watching. You guys think of any more applications for this power? Jot it down in the comments section. Start a discussion. The index doesn't grow without you. I'll be back with an entirely new power, breakdown, and analysis pretty soon. Deuces.